Well, believe it or not, at one point, your favorite comics sucked.
Everybody's arms are crossed.
At the beginning, we're all supposed to suck.
Yo,
Got my one-liner.
what's more American than failing?
Feel my weekend game has turned into a one-nighter.
I thought the set went well.
The guy in the second row won't out his cell phone.
There is no God. Strike me down now.
Yeah.
The tables in the back are digging my dick jokes.
That's what comedy's about, man. It's about bombing. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, that's not what you want.
They give me the sign, I give them my closer.
I'm just over 500 with good shows versus bad shows.
Just enough to get in the playoffs.
I hit the punchline.
All right, this is a good episode.
Fuck it.
Long story short,
He failed. God damn it. Yes,
Wait.
misery loves company, my boy.
thanks for coming out. Boom.
Thanks for coming out, baby. Thanks for coming out.
Hey.
Thanks for coming out. Are we under attack?
Thanks for coming out. Fuck, that bad?
Thanks for coming out. I'm in. Thanks for coming out.
I can't even watch.
Yeah, all that was unprofessional.
Thanks for coming out, ladies and gentlemen. The bomb is the bomb, and it will always be that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thanks for Coming Out, a podcast about bombing. This is all about your favorite comics and how they weren't always great when they're starting out, and even currently. You know, everybody's got an off night, and this podcast is to celebrate those off nights, the art of bombing and coming back the next day or the next week and doing it again. It's mental torture that not too many can handle, but a select few. They're called comics, and we have one of the best with us today. Tuesdays with Stories, Netflix, Comedy Central. His scooter got stolen. You know him from everything. Ladies and gentlemen,
That's a
the
big
one,
credit.
the only,
Yeah.
Mark Norman joining us. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late. If I had the scooter, I could have been here on time, but these chooches out here in the Big Apple took that bitch, and they're probably raping the tailpipe of the Bronx right now.
It's a vicious cycle out there.
Yes. The Lord giveth, and the Lord fuck you in the ass.
Mark is one of those guys that's the same on stage as he is off stage. Always hilarious. Always, you just sit there and shake your head, and you're just like, this fucker always has to steal the show. Not only is he good looking and he has an average
What?
penis, he has to be hilarious as well.
Very veiny. Very veiny.
Very, very.
I love that the compliment is average penis. You should have said he had a
Yeah.
big penis. You're like, I don't want to go the full 9.
Yeah, right?
Mark and I
By
go
the
back a
way-
long way. Yeah.
I have an average penis, but I have had ladies where I put it in, and they're like, ee, ooh, 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 ooh. And I'm like, wow, that's
makes
a
you feel
shallow.
good, don't it?
It makes you feel
That
great.
feels good.
But all you
Yeah.
hear about is big dick. But then I'm like, if I'm average, what are these guys dealing with?
Oh,
Well, you're right. Yeah, I think it's time we celebrate the acting abilities of women. I think you're onto something.
It does help.
Their improv is next level. You know.
Yes.
Uh,
What about you? You guys packing heat?
I always have a saying that if someone admits to packing heat or is tough, that is no. So I'm going to say no comment.
Good point.
I'll go no comment and let everyone figure it out.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
Solid. Sweatpants, the dead giveaway.
Yeah, I was circumcised and it still didn't make a dent. I'm doing just
That's-
fine.
Hey, all right.
Yeah. Apparently they didn't have the jaws of life over there to properly circumcise me. So I'm good. I'm packing heat. I landed a way out of my league chick, and I'm
Nice.
happy. Yeah, I'm
Well
happy.
done. Well, in Alabama, you're like a 4.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I
In
I
New
made-
York, you're a 1. But yeah.
right. I made Full Teeth Weekly magazine out here.
That's the
I
hot
was the
publication out
cover.
there.
Yeah. Mark, so this podcast, James and I started out in Vegas, casino crowds, some of the worst crowds you could play in front of.
Brutal.
And,
worst.
we bombed on such a regular basis that depending which one of us was hosting, as we'd bring the other one out, when we'd shake hands on stage, the one who was been out there and ate the shit sandwich would say to the other, thanks for coming out. And that was our way of knowing there's nothing you can do. You're about to die up here, and just
Take
deal
it
with
like a man.
Yep.
That's right.
Take your bullet in the chest. Don't cry about it. Just go do your goddamn job.
Yeah,
Now-
we've all been there. We know the feeling, but bitching about it's not going to help.
No, and you started in New Orleans, correct?
Yes, sir. Born and raised.
And what's the scene out there like when you're starting out?
It was
Is
pretty
there any?
bleak.
Yeah.
When you clinch your jaw before the answer, that's always an indicator of it is a thanks for coming out.
Yeah, it's a real test of like how much comedy has changed. Like now there's a couple shows every week, and there's real audiences and real comics down there. But when I started, there was one open mic, and then another open mic at a improv thing where they were like doing us a favor by having our dumb stand-up open mic. Like, here you go, you retards.
Oh,
you do
no.
this. Yeah, we're the improv. We're
Oh, they're probably elitist on top of it.
very elitist.
Oh no.
Yeah, you tell your dick jokes. We're doing art.
Yes.
You guys bullshit.
We're gonna do a 90-minute Herald.
Yes,
Yeah, we're gonna be the
exactly.
fish of comedy, and you go out there and talk about your pee-pee. Yeah.
Exactly.
We had the improv troupe at Boomer's Bar and Grill. Remember they were called the
What?
Comediacs, and
The
you remember
Ah.
they all had shirts with their names over the pocket,
Oh, yeah.
over the breast, and
Yuck.
we would just trash. They were on after us. We would just trash them when their people started showing up, and then
The
that
shirts
was
were like Kmart uniforms.
yeah. It was the dumb, and they were terrible. It was at the peak of whose line is it anyway?
Oh,
it's like
yes.
they were trying to glom off of that, and they were terrible.
Right. When Wayne Brady is your shining star, maybe rethink your life choices.
So you do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we had two, and then you'd have to drive maybe a couple hours to hit another mic or hit a show. So it was pretty rough. So we had Sean Patton there, we had Theo Vaughn, we had a couple real deals. And Sean said, I'm going to New York. And we were such pussies. I was like 22, and I was like, well, you go. And then he went, he was like, come on up. He stayed there for 3 months. He met everybody. He found the creek in the cave. He found all these guys. And so we all followed suit and got apartments in Crown Heights.
Now,
Wow.
is it different bombing in a place that has a scene rather than a place that doesn't? Right? Like I feel like you kind of when you're bombing in New York, you almost feel like shit. This person saw me eat it. That person saw. Whereas in a place like New Orleans or Vegas, where we started, it didn't matter who the fuck saw you. Nothing was happening there anyways. You know what I mean?
Right. That's so true. Yeah, bombing in New York felt more painful because you're like,
Yeah.
I'm in New York. Everything in New York is elevated, But bombing with our friends around, we all got drunk every night. It was more of a social thing. No one was really working on bits. You went up there with your bullshit ideas and you thought you were Hicks, and then
Right.
But New York was like, oh, that's Victor Varnado. He's been on Conan. Holy shit. I'm at the Lantern. Oh, that's Dan Goodman. He's intimidating,
Wow.
Everybody had their notebooks, they had their writing, they had jokes written out. It was heavy. It was the real deal. This was New York City.
Yeah. So when you come here, are you all, like almost shy to perform because you just don't know who might even be in the audience? Forget like the comics you mentioned.
Yeah.
Are you scared there's industry and taste makers?
A little bit, yeah. And the judgment from other comedians, because that's all you're performing for is other comedians. But
right.
you're so green. You're like, this could be it.
Oh,
Because every hayseed and Peckerwood gets off the plane with their suitcase and goes, I'm going to make it. The bright lights, Times Square. And you have to get that beaten out of you. You're like, I was a big fish in New Orleans, and now here I'm nobody. And that's a real, it's like these, what do you call that? The seven circle of hell. You have to like go through these certain.
Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like denial, anger, acceptance. You have to go through that whole thing before you can really get better, I think.
Yeah, I'm on stage
Open mic
4.
judgment.
Yeah.
I'm on stage 4, Huntsville, Alabama. That's the circle I'm in.
That's a separate circle.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Do you happen to remember your first bomb, like the first time you ever bombed on stage? Because I remember mine. It was my first time ever going up. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Same
But I
here.
mean, but do you remember like a time where you kind of started doing well? And
Sure,
then
I remember both.
right? You,
I'm such a
well,
psycho.
tell me.
It was all I had. So
Right.
first set I ever did, Lafayette, Louisiana. We drove 3 hours. We got drunk on the way there. We used to work at a Mexican restaurant. The other waiter said, I think you could be a comic. I think you're funny, whatever. I was like, I'll try it. Being a comic was like being an astronaut.
At that point.
At that point, yeah. But it was an open mic, so I went a few times and put my name down and pussed out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a common feat that people don't know. That happens a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I
there was
always
this
tell
one
guys,
guy-
yeah,
sorry.
I always tell guys that go, what should I do? I want to try stand up. And I go to the mic and just watch. Don't sign up
Yes.
the first time. Just watch.
Yeah.
Just
I
get a
did that.
feel because you have no idea what to do. It's your first time doing it. So, granted, these guys aren't professionals, but at least there's a system there they're trying. It's something that you can kind of build around or create off of.
Yes. And I remember I went and there was always the standout guy. You're like, that guy's great. And I went back to see him and I was totally fangirling. And he did the same act and I was crushed.
Yeah, it crushes you.
I was like, what a hack. What a piece of shit. I thought you were an artist. You're just repeating jokes, but I didn't know. And that kind of helped me. I was like, all right, I can do that. I can rehearse a bunch of bullshit. So I wrote out a horrible set. I had a yeast infection at the time or a jock itch. And I wrote a whole set about that.
Wow. You get into comedy
Yeah.
while having and dealing with jock itch for the first time ever in your life?
Yes. And it was a nightmare.
And you must feel like you're broken. You're like, I'm a man with a fucking yeast infection.
Exactly.
And now you're about to be super vulnerable and be a comedian the first time.
Yes. And,
I mean, when you're a dude with a yeast infection, you're like, I'll try stand-up. It can't get any worse.
Yeah.
You know what
and
I
I
mean?
was in a speech class in college, and I was kind of doing well in the speech class because there's no stakes.
Yeah.
So if you have a half a joke, they laugh.
Sure.
right.
So I was kind of had a little confidence from the speech class. So I go up, and I remember we did it was in the back of a bar in Lafayette, and we did a what do you call that? Like a group meeting, like all the comment. You're going up third. You're going okay. Don't run the light. I didn't know anything.
Like
I
a locker room huddle?
Yes, like a huddle.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Yeah. It's a Madonna prayer circle before
Yes.
Truth or Dare.
The fucking open mic host is Al Pacino at any given Sunday. Let's take it away.
Yes,
Norman,
exactly.
get over here. Take a knee. Take a knee. I want to tell you the game plan for tonight.
And it was funny because it's just like that huddle. Those guys, I don't even know if they do it anymore, but it was like every huddle you've ever been in. Like there's the black guy, there's the one lady, there's the fat dude, the gay dude, a bunch of white guys with beards, and the one strap backpack. You know, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
So
That's so funny.
the guy goes, "Don't run the light. You get the light. You got a minute." I didn't know what that meant. Light, minute. What do we talk? I didn't know anything about time or how much to do or how to hold a microphone. And I went up and I was bombing, and I was petrified. I was trembling. He gave me the light. I didn't know what that meant. I just thought a guy was waving a phone, and I just kept going. I kept going. He eventually cuts the mic.
No.
And because I wouldn't get off. Yeah, I wouldn't get off. I didn't know. And I was like, what's going on?
Oh, my God.
Hello, and all that shit. And then he's eventually, I looked to the side of the stage. He's going, get off the fucking stage. I was like, oh, shit. So I got off the stage, and I had a blast.
Oh,
I loved it.
God. It turned into a hostage situation.
Yes.
Mark took control of the stage and wouldn't get off.
Yeah, but I did horribly. It was a train wreck, but I still was like, this was awesome.
So you drive back 3 hours.
Yeah.
Do you get more drunk?
Yes.
And then in your car with your friends, was Sean with you and all that?
No, he was doing his own thing.
Okay. And you're still talking about, hey, that was great?
Yes.
The car
It was
ride.
exhilarating. We celebrated in the car. We had 40s with the brown paper bag, cheersing, swerving.
It's crazy because I get it. Like I had almost like I didn't run the light, but in fact I was the opposite. I tried to turn it on with my mind, like Luke Skywalker, because I was dying on stage, and I'm just staring at it. It will not come on. And I remember that you said you were trembling. I remember trying to do the move where you pull the mic out and you move the mic stand.
No.
When I took weight off of my left leg and it was in the air, it was just shaking like a bone had broke inside of it or so. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So my whole goal at that point was just get off stage without passing out. And I get off stage. It went horrible, but everybody before me did horrible as well. And then I'm like, I think I could do this again next week. Like, I think I could do better next week. There was that window of like, oh my God, that was terrible. That was awful. I've never had anything like that happening. And then you go, but I think if I tweak this and try that, and it's weird, man.
It's weird. You get one shot. It's like a tightrope thing where you're like, this is all the time I have. I need to work this shit out. Like, imagine learning the piano like that. You get 5 minutes on the piano, and you got to learn everything as much as you can while people are humiliating you, and then you're done. You're done. You got to wait a whole week to learn the piano again.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be like, don't ever show me a fucking piano ever again in my life.
Oh my
That's
God.
what you would do. That's the normal reaction.
So all you can do is the part you can control, which is just study the notes, write, work on it, and then when you get back up, you're a little more ready.
Right. It's funny. I had a guy tell me the hardest part of this business is the writing, and ironically, he was a guy that never wrote his own material. He
There
just
you
did
go.
his
You don't
dad's
say.
joke. It was Sandy Hackett. He just did his dad's jokes on
Oh, that's
stage.
right.
There you go.
Yeah,
Say
yeah,
Hackett?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Is
Sandy
he
Hackett.
related to Buddy?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's his kid.
Okay.
We used
sorry.
to play the Greek Isles. He would give us stage time. Shuli did well. He remembers it different that he didn't do as well. But anytime I was there, Shuli was the ace of it. I would bomb like no one's business to 8 blue hairs and 3 young people who were methed out of their skulls.
Yeah.
And it was the worst. And Sandy hated me, probably because he didn't realize I was probably part Jewish. Whatever.
Right.
That's another story. And but he would do Buddy's hacks.
Wow.
Oh,
the
you
jokes
got to
still
hear this,
working?
Mark.
Oh
he,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Good jokes.
I mean,
He
he's one of the
says-
greats ever,
Yeah.
Buddy.
He tells me a story once. He says he's 18. He goes to his dad, Buddy Hackett, and he says, I want to do stand up. He says, I'm going to go be a stand up. And his dad goes, great. What name are you going to use? And he's like, he's going to use Sandy Hackett. He's like, no, you're not. He's like, I worked my ass off to make my name synonymous with funny, and you're not there yet. And you're not
Shit.
going to use that name.
Damn.
That's wild, right?
That's
I would have
harsh.
went as Sandy Rickles.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Dad. Sandy Rickles up in
That's
this
great.
bitch.
Sandy Davis Jr. How
That's
about
right.
that one? There you go.
Sandy Fox.
After all the bomb, I'd go with Sandy Hook.
Sandy. if he just could see the future, Mark.
Yeah. I don't kill though.
Yeah. Yeah. And no actors at your show, by the way. So let's go to you start doing well. And then you have that come down moment where you're like, oh, okay, I got a little too cocky there. And now the comedy universe has brought me back down to earth a little bit.
Yep. But the thing is, once I did that first one, I was looking to the phone book. Where are the comedy clubs? Where the theater, open mic, whatever it is. I was calling, this is how long ago, as I was calling places. You do an open mic night?
Almost like a
Sure.
cold call.
Yes.
God,
And,
damn.
some ladies like making drinks like, yeah, it's every Tuesday at 8, gotta go, And I was like, all right, I wrote that down. And you'd have a list like, okay, Tuesday, there's a dickless bar and clits and whatever. So you're like, all right, great. And then you build your life around it. Then you start meeting the comics, and you notice the same psycho weirdo guys are at every bar and mic and whatever. So now you're building friends, and now you're in the community, and now it's more than just a fun hobby. It's like a lifestyle, and I love
100%.
that. I had nothing
100%.
going on in my life, so this was huge. And we'd get drunk together, we'd write jokes together, we'd go, do shit together, and eventually we all moved to New York, or a couple of us. So I bombed in New York for probably 2.5 years straight. Never had a good set. And one night I was at Mo Pitkin's.
Oh, Avenue A.
Avenue
was owned
A.
by Jimmy Fallon.
That's
There's
right.
3 different rooms. All 3 weren't particularly good.
No. And it was at Art Stars. Remember those psychos?
Oh my God, I used to try that too. Faceboy
Yes, that was his show.
a nasty individual to real
Mean.
comics.
Mean
Hated
guy.
real comics.
Hated real comic. They were artists. They were provocateurs. All this
Sure,
bull.
yeah.
They would paint with their pussies and all that
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vulcan
Oh, that
ears.
bit? Yeah.
Yes.
There was a
Yeah.
woman who had Vulcan ears in real life.
Yeah.
Shuli. She would walk around 2 p.m. in the afternoon in the Lower East Side with Vulcan ears. That's just who she
Yeah.
was.
It was kind of
Something-
the last hurrah of that weirdo East Village
Yes.
vibe.
Yeah, it was the death rattle. Yeah.
Yes.
Something's
So-
telling me that Vulcan-eared woman, you're misgendering her at this point in her life.
Now,
Yeah.
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 But when she's over tomorrow night, I'll ask her what her pronouns are.
Heyo.
Yeah.
What up, everybody? Want to talk to you about our sponsor on Thanks for Coming Out. I know these people well. They are an amazing company. They are out of Iowa. The best friggin' corn-fed Midwest beef you ever had in your goddamn life. Rustic Cuts, my friend. Don't worry, they got grass-fed too. That's how you roll. They got it all. Ground beef, steaks, burgers, sliders. It never ends. And every single thing they have is delicious. I've tried it all. And you don't have to be locked into buying these big packages. You can pick whatever you want from their website, rusticcutscb.com. That's rusticcutscb, like cbradio.com. You go on there, you pick out whatever meats you want, you type in the promo code Shuli, you get 10% off your order. Order something, try it. You can't screw this up unless you just leave it on there overnight. All the meat is aged 21 days. You know what that's going to cost you to get at a steak place? Night on the town, babysitter, parking. Forget about it. Order it. Get it right to your door. Make it yourself. Feed it to the missus. And when she tastes this meat, deal closer, baby. Mariano Rivera coming out the bullpen. It's a wrap. So check out Rustic Cuts. RusticCutsCB.com. They're the sponsor for Thanks for Coming Out. And we want to thank them for coming out. And make sure you use the promo code Shuli and you'll get 10% off. Now, back to the show.
By the way, I saw Jimmy Fallon pretty tuned up a lot of nights.
Oh, yeah.
I never saw him there.
Oh my God, legless all
Yeah.
day long.
You didn't
I
look
heard he liked
down.
that fun.
That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
you didn't see him. You got to look down behind the bar.
yeah.
So you're at Mo Pickens.
I'm at Mo Pickens, always bomb there, whatever. It just became routine. Like, these are the mics you go to. It's Tuesday. I'll go here. I'll go to Mo Pickens. You pick a hat. You pick a number out of the hat. You get 841. That's your spot. You go on at 2 a.m, whatever it is. So I actually got a good spot. So I've been bombing. The city's beating me down. I'm poor. I live in Crown Heights. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half train ride home if I'm lucky. And I got work in the morning. Life is beating me down. New York is trying to chew me up. So I go up there, and I'm bombing, and I'm doing my bullshit Seinfeld-y stuff. And this guy heckles me, and I snap. And I just see red, and I lose it on him. The whole world is on my shoulders, and I was pissed, and I took it out on this guy, and I'm killing. And it's the first time in New York I'm killing or doing well ever in 2 years. And, it's all this. Your parents are going, you sure you want to do this? Maybe you should move back, get a real job. I have no money. I'm wasting my life. What am I doing in New York? Everybody hates me here. I just got pissed on by a hobo, and I just took it all on this guy, and it was going great. And that's when it clicked. And after that, I started doing better.
Just
That-
like
that
that.
was-
Just like that.
Listen, that's that falling down, Michael Douglas, the fly in the car,
Yes,
right?
That's what it
Every-
was.
That's and the other part is if I don't I don't mean to go too Jew therapy on you here,
Please.
Jewipy, but I think it was you finally fighting back and standing up to New York. That's the real story behind this. And all of a sudden, this rush of confidence starts flowing through your body. And it's like, boom, man. Now I know what the fuck I'm supposed to do out here. I know how I'm supposed to carry myself, right?
It was that, and I was so green and stupid that I was just going up and doing a very just written act. What's the deal with toothpaste? Shouldn't it be called teeth paste? You're brushing your teeth, not your tooth. Who
Right.
brushes one tooth? And they were like, I hate this hack. And I was so
Right.
80s and Seinfeldian. And then when I got heckled, I broke out of that shell and was just like, fuck you, blow me. And I was myself, and they could see it. And I think that's what New York wants. They want authenticity a little bit.
That's what comedy wants. It's the realist. It's the realest part of you. That's the funniest thing to people. It's
Exactly. Rattled something loose in me, and then from then on, I wasn't killing per se, but I was better.
So it's also interesting though, because I remember it different. I don't remember you being around for 2.5 years and bombing. I
Yeah.
remember you being solid from the jump. Do you remember where we met?
No.
It might have been somewhere before, but I remember this. This is a wonderful Thanks for Coming Out venue. There used to be this still probably is, but there used to be shows at a hostel on 101st
I remember
and
that.
First Street.
That was a good show.
It
For an
could
open
be.
micer that had real people there, audience. That
Yes.
was hot girls were there.
Always, but there was one caveat, everybody. 90% of the audience did not speak English as a first language.
Yes.
And a lot of us talk fucking quick. We're New York City
Yes.
comics, even though we came from different places. We are New York comics. And it was so interesting. But like I always said, that place made me better at crowd work. There's still
Right.
stuff I use as a host
Really?
that I learned from having to deal with it. Like just talking to people and learning little ticks about where they're from
Yeah.
has helped me going forward with that. But you would play in front of a huge TV, interrupt these are a bunch of people from other countries trying to watch Raymond, which they hear is great.
Right.
Everybody loves them.
Everyone
Right.
loves it. The kitchen's next to it. People are just heating up the most disgusting foods.
Yes.
There'd always be one big pizza, and then you would make an announcement. The host would go, "Hey, we're starting a comedy show in 10 minutes."
Yeah.
People puzzled. But I remember working with you there,
Yep.
and you
Good call.
you guest hosting once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, what a nightmare. Yeah, I was nervous up there. I mean, but that was a few years in. I think I was like a year in, 2 years in, when I started finding out about that room. And that was the cool thing about New York comedy is there's a room in Harlem, there's a room in Queens, there's a room in Long Island, there's a room in Jersey, and they were all these little hidden gems. And it was social media was in an early state then, so it was all really word of mouth. And who's this guy? Remember Buck Wild? You'd meet guys like Buck Wild. What?
Hog Wild.
Hog Wild.
He ran that show.
Sorry, Hog Wild.
Yeah.
That's right.
Buck Wild's on Hot 97, by the
Yes,
way.
Is he?
Well, he
Oh,
was.
sorry.
I think he got off. I don't know. Something happened there.
But yeah. So there was all these like mysteries and cool little fun moments you'd have in New York. Like, who the fuck's this guy? Who the fuck's that guy? Everybody had a story. Everybody had a history, and it was fun. And now it doesn't feel like that anymore.
Well, I was going to ask, what makes the New York comedy scene better than any other place?
Well, I think people here are trying to get good at comedy. Jim Gaffigan is popping into Gotham because he's got shit to work on.
Yes.
You know, and so you're seeing, I mean, this is going to sound queefy, but good stand-up comedy, when you see good it's fucking magical.
Yeah.
When you're in the room and it's like really great. Improv as well. I've seen some Second City shit where I was like, this is incredible what I'm witnessing. But there's 98% of it sucks. Or it's just rote or unoriginal or whatever. And when you see great comedy, it's really something special. And every now and then a New Yorker will see that, and it'll get them to come back. And I think that's what's great about New York comedy. LA, I feel like it's a little more
of a scene.
More of a
Right.
scene. I'm making a cameo tonight. I'm popping in, you know. I'm a celebrity. You're
Right.
lucky I'm here. I'm wearing a cool outfit. In New York, you're like, oh shit, I just saw Rock try out some shit. Chris Rock, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
Well-
I think more in New York than any place else, you're judged on you're funny.
Yes.
Not on anything else.
Exactly.
Not on what car you're pulling up in, what iPhone you fucking got, what it's just this is what you're here for, and if you're good at it, then the doors are open to you. Everybody will help you get better.
The comedy is the currency here. Like, look at Dave Attell. The guy looks like a fucking janitor. He's smoking in a alleyway, hunched over, alone with all black on. But then he walks up. He's the king.
He's the emperor.
He's the emperor.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Dave Attell walked up into the Comedy Store, I feel like they'd go, "We got to call Chris Hansen." Who's this guy?
Get him out.
You know?
Yeah.
Get him out of here. This predator.
This is potluck on a Monday.
Yeah.
How did he get in?
Exactly.
What do you think is, because you've bombed in a lot of public appearances, like morning news when you go out to, which I want Mark to come back another time, and I would love to pick like 3 or 4 videos and just dissect them with them and do a little Monday morning quarterback breakdown of but what would you say is probably your most uncomfortable bomb in your career?
I've got some doozies. I mean, I kind of bombed on one of my Conans. That fucking hurt.
Really?
Yeah. If you look at my one of them has 1 million views, one of them has 2 million views, and one has 300K. and I earned that 3. That's low for Conan.
Wow.
Yeah, and I bombed. I rewatch it like through my hand, like, oh my god, this is so bad.
But I think what James is saying is like, do you think you bombed, or did you legit? Because we are our biggest haters, right? So the second something doesn't go right, we've fucked everything up. Did you really bomb, or you just bombed because it didn't come out right?
Well, it wasn't that guy. What's that guy on Kimmel who had the epic bomb that they got scrubbed from the internet?
Oh, the guy who was the king of the goddamn tweets?
Yes.
Delaney?
Rob Delaney. Yeah, Rob Delaney.
Who every girl you date for that 4 years was like, oh, you're a comedian? You know, Rob Delaney's hilarious. I follow him on Twitter.
That's true.
Are you as funny as him on Twitter? Get the fuck out of here.
I know. Watch his Kimmel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it wasn't like that where it was just silence and crickets, but it was like I did this thing where I got into a fight with my girl in the green room, and I guess I was just juiced up.
Wait, right before?
Right before
you have to tape, you get in a fight with your then girlfriend.
Yes. And it was fucking me up in my head because, you're already a mess before a taping.
Of course.
So that was a double mess, and I went out there, and I just sped through the material like, okay, so one time I was at the grocery store, this guy, okay, now joke 2, and I just sped through it. And if you watch it, you'll see that. I'm speaking so fast that the audience was hot. They were ready to go, and they're like, whoa, what was that? Oh, we're on joke 2 now. Oh, we missed it. What? And it's horrible.
Oh, they didn't have time to process.
Yes,
because you're not even processing because you just got rattled before you had to go on goddamn television.
I know. I fucked up. And then by the end of it, I kind of start realizing and I start chilling the fuck out. And the last joke, I got out clean and it hit.
Right.
But the first 3.5, 4 minutes is a nightmare.
It's like
When
Mark
you
comes
wrap
out
up-
on an 8-ball and just
Yeah.
fucking-
Yes.
When you end that, then so you say goodnight, Conan comes out. How do you feel in that moment? Have you could you process that it wasn't what you wanted?
Yeah, but your body's in like fight or flight mode where it's like, it's kind of like when, somebody's like, I got shot and I didn't feel it.
Yes.
Right.
It's like that. You're like, I know I fucked up, but your body's kind of giving you all these enzymes or whatever the fuck it is. So you chill the fuck out of that moment. But later it hits you hard.
Oh my God. And then we go back to the green room.
Yes.
Are you chill with your girl, or you then do you get in another fight later? Because you're yo, if we didn't fucking fight, I would have been slower and I would have got more fucking applause breaks.
Again, it was just like slow motion where I got off and I was like, okay, let's go home. And I was just, let's talk about it later. Let's deal with this later.
Wow,
And
you're a
it
better
later.
man. You're a better man than me. I would have kicked open the door and go, well, thanks a lot. I would have done one of those.
The tough thing is, the batch of jokes, the 5 minutes was like one of my better joke groups or groupings.
The
And I
material was
blew it.
there. The
The
material was there.
It always is.
And I wasted it. Thank you.
Yeah.
But also, the road to a Conan is so many steps and obstacles. You got to write the jokes. Then you got to get them on a good tape. Then you got to send in the tape. Then you get notes. Then you tweak the notes. Then you send another tape. It's such a process. Then you fly to LA. You get in a hotel. You run the set at the Comedy Store. You bomb, of course. Then you run it somewhere. It's such a process. Then you finally get there, and it's all ruined because you ran too fast.
Oh my
It's
God.
that's what hurt the most. Just the waste of time to get there. And so many other comics want that spot, and I blew it.
Wow. And then how much time passes till you get back on? Do you think you're done at that point?
Oh
'Cause
yeah, a
you've done
little
several.
bit.
You've done several with him.
Yes, I did one. I've done 8, and I had a 9th in the books, but the COVID ruined it. But now Conan's done. But yeah, that was like the 3rd one, and I had the 2 good ones, so I had a little goodwill. I had some grace, and they let me come back in about a year and a half.
Oh my God! But it
Yeah.
must have felt like purgatory. For a year and a half.
Purgatory, brutal.
Yeah, and I love that you thought other comics were like mad that you blew it. They were probably thrilled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
They're like, "Hey, did you see this?" Right away. But this is the same guy who's got Seinfeld jumps in the booth at a Mets game and does play-by-play for a little bit, and the guy, it was like, I mean, this had to be a moment from heaven for you.
Huge.
It is the guy, the other commentator asked Seinfeld, who are some of the good comics you like these days? And Seinfeld just goes in on Norman here and just, I mean, licks the balls, everything. It couldn't have been more beautiful.
It was really something. The cool thing is, let's say I get canceled tomorrow, I go to jail. I always have that. That is on tape forever. And you better believe I put it on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I went hard on that. But I was bombing at the time when he was saying that, which was kind of poetic.
In general, like you were in a slump?
No, I was at the Buffalo Helium on 4th of July. So
that's a fun day.
Yeah,
to perform in
exactly.
fucking Buffalo.
You get one sunny day in Buffalo, and it's on the 4th of July, and everybody's out picnicking and boating.
Eating
and
white
tubing.
hot dogs.
Yes, and I'm on stage
Regional
eating
food.
my ass, and there's like 8 people in the room. I get off stage, I'm covered in sweat. I was like, woo, that was a tough hour. And then my phone's lighting up like a pinball. Seinfeld's talking about what? And I somebody sent me the clip, and I was like, ah. And then I had to go back on at the second show and bomb.
And that's when you really, I remember that's when I was like, I love the New York comedy scene because so many comics shared that clip on social media and were and legit happy for Mark, me being one of them, of course, but like, it's so cool when one of your own gets made, right? And Goodfellas speak.
Right.
Yes.
It was huge. And it's, our parents don't know shit about comedy, so that they can actually sink their teeth
That's
into.
huge.
Yeah, the Comedy Cellar. What's that? That's a club. It's really hard to get into. Okay. Seinfeld said he likes you. That's something.
Yeah, it's so true because I had immigrant parents that, Israelis, they didn't know, they wanted, when I said I'm going to do stand up, I ran 2-3 open mics in Vegas and my dad right away, did you get an agent yet? And I'm like, I'm
Yep,
making
yep.
$40 a week. No, I haven't signed an agency yet.
You should have been
Hopefully
like,
it's on the
Dad, I
way.
assume you are an agent.
Yeah, right. You don't know anyone? Come on.
Right.
But, being able to come back there and play the joint and bring my mom on stage to say
was
hi to
great.
everybody, that's something they can understand.
That's great.
Yeah, so those moments are so amazing. And you you embrace the bomb. You lean into it because it's a part of the process. And when
Yes.
I think about your schedule when you're in the city of how many spots you do in a week, let's say, forget a month, in a week, and it's law of averages. It has nothing to do with you as a comic. You're gonna get shit crowds. I saw a clip on your Instagram of that woman that wouldn't shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
and it was just like, to think how much effort you put into your craft, because you're notorious as one of the best joke writers in New York, man.
It doesn't stop writing.
No,
Always
you're a
works on new
machine.
stuff.
Yeah, and so to formulate all this stuff and then bring it on stage, and you work so hard on this stuff, and then 95%, 98% of the crowd is listening, and then you have one person that fucks it all up.
It
Not only
happens.
for you, but for everybody. And it's really a stick in the wheel, man. It's like sometimes the bomb's on us. The other times it's you guys, right?
Right. But isn't that kind? And I hate the heckling. I hate the crazy lady or whatever yelling at you, and it happens. But isn't it kind of what's cool about stand up is it's this incredibly hard art form. When it works, it's fucking beautiful, but it's also not taken that seriously. And there's something cool like Hamilton is this: you put a suit on, it's this big production. It's a $400 ticket. It's on Broadway, the big lights, but there's still something kind of formal and hoity-toity about it. Where stand up, it's probably harder than Hamilton because we write it, we perform it, we travel ourselves,
Mhm.
but it's still kind of bar room, slug it out, badass, indecent, dirty,
Yeah.
filthy. I like that aspect of it. So every now and then, if you got to take a heckler, I'll take it.
That's what's great about it, but it's why we're the carpenters of artists.
Yes.
We're just a craftsman, but also the fact that we can change it on a whim.
Yes.
People admire it, but also don't admire it as much. The fact that we can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
You just can't go to a park and do Hamilton. Just
Yeah.
like we were doing in the middle of the pandemic. I'd see Mark in front of him and I'd be working in front of a fucking oak tree.
Yep.
With a Mr. Microphone while people are throwing Frisbees by us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brutal.
Yeah.
What's funny is those wild audience members, those bomb shows, that's where you learn the most about who you are as a comic and how you operate on stage and the fact that you come back. Like, how many people come back after shit like that? We are, firefighters of uncomfortableness. We run towards it.
Yes. Well
We run
said.
right towards it, man.
Well, you guys watch UFC?
Oh,
Here and
sure.
I love UFC, and there's a guy, George St. Pierre, who people say
Yeah.
is one of the best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I saw him on some clip, and they were like, "What would you do in a street fight?" He goes, "I would never do a street fight." And they're like, "Well, you're a great fighter. You could probably kick anybody's ass in a bar." He's like, "Too risky. You never know. The guy's got a knife, a gun, whatever. You don't know who you're dealing with. I wouldn't do it." And they're like, "But you could kick their guy's ass, some fat guy in a bar." He's like, "It's too risky." And that's how I feel about club comedy. Like, they can go in the ring, and we can go in the ring of a beautiful theater and, do comedy, do stand-up. But those club sets that's the bar fight. And a lot of people won't do it.
Wow.
They're like, this crowd sucks. I'm not going up there. But we still have to do it. We still have to do the bar fight, even though it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's funny because you're never too much of a pro to not be in that league. Right.
Yes.
It's not right. It's like, it doesn't matter what stat, like you said, Gaffigan popping in, Gaffigan can call a club and say, I want to do a Saturday night show, and they'll give it to him. He doesn't
Yep.
need to pop in to do a 12-minute spot. So the fact that they're still hungry and they know they still learn from it. There's something to learn from club comedy. That's the big key, right?
Yeah, good point. Good point. You need that rough around the edges-ness, the
But-
unpredictability.
But the road is also very important because you
Yeah.
get too bogged down in club comedy, your material stays there as well, right?
Yes, like when they make a movie, they send it out to focus groups and they have audiences and they take notes. Okay, they laughed at that, they loved that, they hated that. We do that every night.
Every night we have a focus group.
That's our whole job is focus grouping. So our jokes are just getting better and better and better, hopefully. And we're doing it all over the country. I'm in Syracuse tomorrow, then I'm in Austin, then I'm in Denver, then I'm in Sacramento. We're all over, baby.
Yeah.
And you got to make them all laugh.
And that's
Yeah,
the craziest thing, man.
And
Yeah.
not all the material works the same in all the places, right?
Sure.
So you never stop learning. I mean, we saw a guy in Vegas come off stage and knock a guy out at the bar that was heckling
dude.
him while he was
Really?
bombing. Yeah, and
Do
then came back
tell.
up and said his name. He goes, "My name's Dagger. You guys have been great. Good night."
Dagger.
Yeah, Dagger.
Who looked a lot like Rob Shapiro. And then I've been meaning to ask Rob Shapiro in the years out here in New York, but also I'm scared to ask Rob Shapiro if he ever went by Dagger and punched someone and hit someone with a beer bottle right before I went on to do an Andy Kaufman wrestling spoof in Vegas. I just don't want that to repeat. So yes.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see Shapiro doing that.
Can I just say this? I know that special needs is the more appropriate way of saying it and not the R word, as people call it.
Sure.
To me, it's a bigger, just hearing it off the tongue is what if someone called someone special needs, to me, that's a bigger burn. To me, that's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, you have special needs. That to me should be the slur. It's that
I
much more
agree.
unbelievable of a word.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
wrong with them? Oh, that's a special needs motherfucker. Oh,
Yes. They love to do that shit. Like you're not supposed to say fat now. It's person of size. Like that just sounds so much worse.
Worse.
Person of size.
Yo, look at that person of size over there. That's a fucking burn.
Yeah, that sounds medical. He's a person of size.
Person should
God.
eat some sides. That might help a little bit. Listen, having traveled with a super famous person by the name of Beetlejuice, who is special needs, I can tell you that every time the flight attendant, when we were about to board a plane, would say, "If there's anyone with special needs," we wouldn't say he's special needs because he'd get pissed. But
there you go.
But if she was like, if there's any retards out there, he'd be like, "I was retarded," and he would walk right in.
And you're not gonna, if he walks up, you're gonna go right this way, young man.
Oh,
You're not
please.
questioning. You're not flipping a coin to see yes or no.
Yes, exactly.
They put us in the exit row once, and the flight attendant, before the plane takes off, she walks over. She goes, "Just want to let you guys know you're responsible for opening the door in case." And Beetle just goes, "Bitch, I ain't opening no door. I'm getting sucked out." And they moved us right out of the exit row into different rows.
There you go.
But yeah, the physical altercations at clubs are always. Have you ever had anything happen on stage, like somebody pass out or something happen, and then you have to get back into the show? Or
Yeah, I had. I think it was like a stroke or a heart attack, but it was in Phoenix. It was so far in the back that the ambulance came, and I couldn't see really what was going on. You see the EMTs come in, you see the gurney, and you're kind of like trying to keep it light.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just stand there and go like, well, this is awkward. So you're trying to make it fun, but it's a fine line between offensive and fun, and this guy's in a serious condition. So that was a real tightrope.
Yeah, I mean, that's also how we deal with traumatic events too, is with humor, right? So it's like,
exactly.
It's not a real good comedy show when the guy's like, "Hey guys, let's hold hands and pray for this person."
Exactly. You're still an entertainer.
Yeah, put on a goddamn show, no matter who's dying, and then you get to say you killed. I mean, if that's what goes on the resume. I once had a guy pull a knife on me after a show.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, nice.
That's fun.
Yeah, he was a big fat guy, and I made fun of him, and he pulled a knife on me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm going, physically, I can move faster than him, so I don't have to worry. And I just came out with my hand. I go, "You were a great sport," to shake his hand, and he just looked at the knife, and he's like, "You're crazy." He's like, "I don't know why you would come towards somebody with a knife." I said, "Well,
that is such a ballsy move, though.
I was just."
Who would stab you after doing it? Yeah, you're probably scarier than him with the knife.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was like, if this is the hill I'm going to die on, I don't think so, But it was Vegas. You never know. We had an open mic that we ran there that featured the stars of the DVD Bum Fights. I don't remember. I don't know.
We used to work with bum fights.
Yeah,
highbrow shit here.
But
yeah,
it was insane.
Wow.
They hung out in this parking lot, and we had an open mic on Tuesday nights, and they would just pop in and they would sign up to get on the list, and we'd let them up, and they would sit there and have mental breakdowns on stage in front of
Wow.
19 people.
And then sometimes you couldn't tell the difference between the bum fight crackheads having meltdowns and some comics' acts. And unfortunately, I probably was on that list sometimes.
Yeah, the Village Lantern would have heroin addicts come in, crackheads come in, and they got 5 minutes like everybody else.
That's what I was thinking about this. First time I had an altercation almost happen, I was performing to like 4 people at the Village Lantern on a Thursday, 6 o'clock, 6:30 show. No one's there. The guy who's running it, Pauly Confusion.
Yeah.
He's trying to bark people in. And some dude who looked like Captain Caveman from the Flintstones in real life, hairball, comes down and just starts yelling at me and picks up a chair.
What?
This guy could have broke me without a weapon. Also has a fucking weapon. There's no one there to protect me. Is about to come and kill me. And then someone finally comes out and diffuses this dude.
Wow.
Out of nowhere. Here's the irony. I could have went to see AC/DC that night. Didn't. I wanted to do the art. And minutes before I took the F train to Westport to go almost get killed in a horrible set to 4 people in the roach-infested basement of this venue, I got stopped on the street by someone who called my real name Jamie. And I turn, and I'm with my boy Grant Gordon. And we talk for a minute. And we go, all right, good to see it. I walk by, and Grant goes, who's that? Oh, that's the lead singer of The Killers. I was stopped in the street by the lead singer of The Killers who was in town to do Saturday Night Live.
What?
Yeah, and Grant was like, you got to hit him up. You should have invited him to the You should have invited him to this show. Could you imagine if this poor son of a bitch, nice Mormon kid who's in a rock band, showed up and fucking Captain Caveman beats up his friend he used to work at a golf course with?
That's hilarious.
I bet you he'd still be talking about that show today. If
He'd have the whole concept album on it.
Yeah. Who's the most famous person you ever bombed in front of, Mark?
Well, there's 2 good ones. I was opening for Schumer for a while, Amy Schumer, and I've told the story before, but it's worth telling. I'm opening for her. She's hit the peak. I mean, movies and TV, she's winning Emmys and Peabodys. Like, she is a superstar. We're doing an arena in Kalamazoo. Took a private jet there, the whole thing. I'm doing 20 minutes. Hottest crowd in the world. They love comedy. They love her. I've been opening for her for years. We got it down to a science. That night in the plane, she goes, you know what? I'm going to produce your hour special. I was like, oh, my God, this is insane. Comedy Central hour. That was the biggest ticket in the business. So you're like, oh, my God, thank you. And she goes, I've been so busy with this tour. I haven't really been watching your sets. Tonight, I'm going to watch, and we're going to figure out what jokes you should do and tweak and whatever. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm such an honor, whatever, So she never really watches me. So I always kind of fuck around, do what I want. Tonight, I'm like, all right, I'm going to really bring the heat. I'm going to impress Amy because she's produced my special. 20,000 people, Kalamazoo. It's nothing but camo hats, sleeveless shirts, flannel. I go out there.
Ted Nugent's family.
Yes, exactly. Cat scratch fever. She's on the side of the stage like, here we go. Let's see it. And I ate my ass for 20 straight minutes. Not a laugh, not a tee-hee. Maybe I heard a cough. It was the scariest, saddest, most fucked up moment of my life. My back sweat is pouring out like a waterfall. My ass cheeks are spasming. My mouth is dry. 20,000 people, silence, nightmare.
And you never had a set like that on tour with her before
Never,
or after?
Never. It just happened. It's Kalamazoo. They were the whole time like, who is this? Where is she? Who's this guy?
Yeah.
We hate this guy. And I opened up with a bit about anxiety because I'm a New York comic. They're like, anxiety? What is that? We're not gay.
Yeah.
And
rifles.
Yes. Yeah. And I did a therapy joke, and I just played it all wrong. I should have played to them instead of like doing my fucking alt act.
Right. Right. They wanted a rock star. They wanted a rock star, and you came out Woody Allen style.
Yes,
basically.
they wanted dice.
Yeah.
And
like,
she was watching. It was brutal. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're just let me bring the room down to Nebbish level.
Yeah,
if you guys don't mind.
Nebbish, and they hated it.
And then what'd she say after?
Yeah, what's that
I
like?
brought her up. They went nuts. She killed. And then I really was in the green room like traumatized. Like I felt like I had PTSD. I was shaking. I was like, how could this happen?
You're like, the deal's off. She's not producing shit now.
Deal's off. It's over. The one time she watches me, I have the bomb of my life.
God.
And she came back. She's like, well, I think the good set gave her a little goodwill, good little
Right.
niceness,
Right.
And she was like, "Well, we'll watch you again. We'll watch you again." The second show I did on another town, I did better,
Yeah.
but it was ugly.
What do you think did it? Did you think because you said, "All right, I'm gonna kill"? Do you think it was almost like going back to your first time or the first couple years out here, where you're not just being yourself, you're worried more
Right.
about the jokes hitting? Because I think we've all had that happen where
You nailed it.
you forget what makes you you.
Yes,
Isn't just your jokes. It's
Yes.
that you're willing to be you in that moment
yes
in front of them. And so,
Well
like, you're the
said.
most, as Shirley said, you're the most you. Like on stage, it's those little things.
Oh, thanks.
Like, did you
Wow.
ever think saying the word comedy
Never
would become like a catchphrase? And it's not like you wanted to be. It's just what the fuck you did
right?
sitting in the green room
I know.
or at the diner or bar. You'd be
Well-
like comedy, and could you imagine if someone told you, "All right, hey, just do it 7 minutes. Don't ever think about saying that." I would probably derail. It's just that's what you do.
Right,
It's
right.
like putting your hands and tying them up.
Yes.
Go out there.
Boy, you fucking nailed it. Those sets where all eyes are on you, this is like make or break. It strips you of your
You deprogram.
authenticity. Yeah. And you go into autopilot, you go into comedian mode.
Instead of Mark Norman, who is a comedian.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you become a generic comedian in quotations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
And-
that happened. It's a combination of that. And I was like, okay, she's going to watch me. She's going to produce my special. So I'm going to do my first 20 minutes of the special on this show. I should have done the dirty, the hits,
Yeah.
because this is 20,000 people.
Play the hits.
But I was like, oh, I'm getting a Comedy Central hour. I'm going to show her my opener, my second joke, my third joke, which I shouldn't have done. That was
Yeah,
also a mistake.
You should have stayed in club show mode
Yes.
for that set, and
Exactly.
it
Bring
would
the heat.
and it would have been perfect. That's right. You fucking scream at somebody, call
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
a queer, and then close strong.
Mo Pickens should have went in the Mo Pickens
I
mode.
know.
Look at you going on here and barking like a dog
Yeah.
with newspaper. Who are you to judge me?
Exactly.
And the
So that was
other,
one.
yeah.
that's
So
one.
who's the other one?
This story, I told it on YouTube and it went viral, and I took it off because I didn't want the celebrity guy to see it. But I opened for Seinfeld, biggest gig of my life, Beacon Theater, sold out, 4 shows, 2 nights, 2 shows a night. Biggest gig of my life. Bought a new suit, ran the set in my apartment 9,000 times, timed it. I don't know if you've heard the story with Ryan Hamilton opens for Jerry.
Yeah.
And it's 15 minutes, no lock, no clock, no light. So you got to just know it.
Oh my God. I would walk out the back door. It would be too much.
It's a
As
recipe
if
for
there
disaster.
isn't enough pressure to
I
begin with.
know.
Now you have to feel time. What do you think about that?
Yes. And his response is, "You're a professional comic. You don't know 15 minutes?" And you're like, "Okay."
Oh my God. That's so 80s brick wall shit.
Right. And in a weird way, I think he's mentally testing you,
Sure.
which I realized later. But at the time, you're just like, I'm like fucking Burgess Meredith in my apartment with the stopwatch, and I'm wearing all sweats, You're gonna eat jokes and shit punchlines,
Yeah,
3
listen,
people will get that reference.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Dice was the same. It's no different than Dice telling me, basically saying, "Hey, go bomb for 3 minutes." And I did because at the end of the day, it's his show, and I respect that, and whatever. I make the same money either way.
Right, exactly. But that's kind of comforting that he knows you're gonna bomb.
Yes, he set me up to bomb. He told me go talk about the song I'm coming out to for 3 minutes, which I hadn't heard yet, and fucking
Wow.
just ate a dick in front of 1,200 people in Massey Hall in Toronto for 3 minutes.
The legendary Massey Hall, where
Yeah.
Neil Young played songs and people cried.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you go up, you're rehearsed, you're dressed, you're timed down to the second.
Yep. So I go up, we do the first show, it goes well. I had a good set, and I was kind of beaming, like, oh my God, this is my childhood hero. I made it to the mountaintop. I used to watch the sitcom with my parents in New Orleans. Now I'm here opening for this motherfucker. This is so crazy. First set goes well, the 8:00 show. Then we got like a 9:30 or a 10. And I'm like, I got this. I'm a comic. It's a sold out crowd, comedy fans. So second show, I just kind of get a little loosey-goosey and I have a little more fun. But then I go, wait a minute. I'm having so much fun, I lose track of time.
No!
So now I'm
no.
like, whoa, wait, am I at 11 minutes? Am I at 8 minutes? Am I at 13? I'm all off. I don't know where I'm at, but I got this written, rehearsed set. And I'm like, I got an applause break over here. So that ate up 30 seconds. So where am I at now? I
my
totally
God.
lose it.
Oh, you're
So I was
factoring in
feeling great,
applause
and then-
breaks? Oh, no.
Yeah, the confidence fucked me because I got too comfortable.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I panic, of course. And I just go, I don't want to go long. I'm probably at like 14. I'm just going to get off. And little did I know, I was actually at like 12.
Oh shit.
So I just go, thank you, good night. And they play music, and you could hear the guy like, oh shit, like he wasn't ready to turn
He
it on.
wasn't ready to put it on.
Yeah, and then they give it a second of music, and then they go, Jerry Simon, and then he goes out. It's a whole regiment. They got it down to a science. And I come off, and I'm like, how long was that? And there's no one back there. He's not there. There's no guy. There's no nothing. There's just one grip sitting on a stack of cables playing a casino game on his phone.
Of course, yeah.
And I go, how long was that? He's like, I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Yeah, was he care? He
Yeah.
had pocket aces.
Exactly. So I was like, well, should I go back out? He's like, dude, I don't know. I'm not a comic. Like, what? And I was like, shit. So now it's an empty stage with a sold-out Beacon
Which is
Theater.
if people don't realize it, it's a cardinal sin. And I lose
Cardinal
my
sin.
mind in New York when I see comics and working clubs somehow and still running off the fucking stage before I can put one toe on
Yep.
to take them off as the host. Yes.
You never leave the stage. You never turn your back to the audience.
Yes.
Those are like the two big ones. So the stage is empty, and I panic, and I go, well, look, I fucked up. This is on me. I'm going to go down with the ship. I
Holy
thought it was
fuck.
some kind of bold move I was doing there. Like, I'll take it. So I go back out there, and I do a couple minutes.
Wow.
And the jokes did okay, but they're also confused. Like, why'd
Yeah.
you go out and come back? So now I'm bombing because they're like, what? Who's him again? What the fuck?
They already
By
were
the-
done with you.
Yes.
By the way, you left and came back in the same outfit. You didn't even do an outfit change.
Exactly.
That would
You
at
weren't even
least
Lady Gaga.
explain. Yeah, it would
Yeah.
have explained it a little bit.
And music has changed or music is played. The whole thing's weird. So now it's just getting weirder and they're getting more fed up. Like, what are you doing? Like now you're doing in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And one guy just goes, Jerry, Jerry.
Yeah.
You know, it's still these Long Island psychos out there. And now I want to tear this guy to pieces, but I got to be clean.
Yes.
Oh my
So I go,
God.
excuse me, sir, take it easy, you rabble rouser. You know, watch it there, you numbskull.
Stop rocking.
Yeah, you troublemaker.
Why I oughta.
And it is bad. It is
Oh, my
awkward. It's
God.
palpable. You can cut it with a knife. And I eventually go, well, I think I'm fired. And that got like a like in agreement, like, yeah, you're fucked. And then I go, all right, thanks a lot. Sorry, I'm Mark again. And I got off, and he's there waiting for me, and he ain't happy.
And he gives you the business.
Well, he has to go on. So he goes on, does an hour, cleans up, kills it. They love him. They're just so happy to not see me. And then he gets off, and he kind of, I don't want to say what he said, but he gave me a little what for, little chin music, and then he got in his car and left.
Yeah.
Wow,
And that was
dude.
night one.
And then he still have to work with him again.
Yes. Well, I thought. I mean, he could have fired me, but he didn't.
And
But-
then when you show up the next, is it the next day?
Yeah.
Are
Friday,
you like on
Saturday.
eggshells?
Of course. Of course.
Do you apologize again, or do you think that is a test? If you apologize, you're showing weakness. And you shouldn't be in the business.
See, my head is doing all this shit.
Sure.
I'm doing mental jumping jacks. I didn't sleep a wink. I laid
course.
on my bed in my suit with an Apocalypse Now fan going over me. And
The horror.
yeah. And I luckily I had his he's got like a right hand man, kind of an assistant type guy. And I was
Yeah.
texting with him all day. What should I do? Should I let it go? Should I address it? And he goes, don't even talk about it again. Let it go. He knows how he feels. You text him, it's not gonna help anything. I was like, okay,
Right.
great. And then he showed up. I was in the green room, got there early. He showed up and we talked about it, and then that was it. And I think it made us closer in a weird way
Good.
because after that I was ripping. I had 2 killer sets.
You also
Well, I
probably
mean,
had
it
a
was-
chip on your shoulder at that point too.
And it was
Yeah.
all out. It was all out now. Like
It was
there's
all out.
nothing, you gotta, the fact, let me tell you something. What helped you a ton is this happened on night 1 and not night 2.
Thank
Because if
God.
this happened on night
Oh.
2, you may have never heard from this guy again. Right.
Interesting. Interesting.
So I think that the fact that you both had to kind of face each other that next day was a big help for you and probably for him because he's such a stickler. He's so technical about everything that that had to fuck with him,
Of course.
for a
He's
little
very
while.
meticulous. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so are you, which is why he likes you so much. You
Right.
are extremely similar to him. And
Yes.
that's why he's gravitating towards you.
I guess so, but I want to clear this up. A lot of people are like, "What a dick! Fuck that guy! He shouldn't have done that." And look, it's his show.
That's right.
He has a high bar of professionalism, and I didn't meet it, and that's on me. So I completely take the blame. And he could have been a lot meaner, and he could have kicked me off. He could have said horrible shit about me, and he didn't. So I take it. I think he handled it perfectly.
The fact that you were invited to the dance is a victory in and of itself. Number one, the fact that he thought enough of you to say, I want to put this guy on my stage in front of my audience. So, he's old school. He's Buddy Hackett going, you ain't using my fucking name because you ain't there yet. That's right.
Which I get. I agree with.
And then, in no way is he a dick. I mean, that's you fucked up. You tried to make it right. You dug a bigger hole.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. That's what we do constantly.
Exactly.
You know why that audience though? So there's always that thing. If you're not the host, it is very hard to come back a second time. I did that like my first really major bomb in Vegas. I was the headliner, but I opened at this theater we did in Henderson, and it went really well. And then to make my $100, which felt like a retirement check at that point,
course.
I had to go back out, and they're done with you. So there's always that aspect. But with you, with that, when the opener comes back out, they start going, is Jerry throwing up in the back? Is Jerry stuck in traffic?
Right.
Is Jerry not? Why is the opener fucking back again?
Yes.
Yeah. Why is Cheap Trick playing more songs? Where the fuck is Gene Simmons
totally
and Kiss?
Right. Yeah. Are we getting screwed? Did we get bamboozled here?
Yes.
It's a weird, different kind of check spot. You're mentally making them take focus off of watching you and think about 9 million other things, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And you felt it. It was in the air.
Oh my God.
And you live to fight another day, and it makes you better as a comic. Maybe not as a person, but as a comic.
Sets you back as a person every time that happens.
Yeah. And one good thing about the pandemic is the pandemic hit right after that. So he never used me again, obviously, because he didn't work. And I got to go, well, if there was no pandemic, I'd probably be open for him all the time.
That's right.
But now I could blame the pandemic.
Yeah, you write the future however you see fit, my friend. No one can take that away from you.
Look at you, Mr. Silver Linings.
Trying.
Mr. Norman, let people know where they can follow you, your social media, your websites, your TikTok, your anal. Go ahead.
Sure.
Leave with the anal.
Yeah. I'm all over the place. I got 2 podcasts. We Might Be Drunk. Me and Sam Morrill, we're the only comics left drinking. You still drink.
Kid, please. Of course.
Hallelujah. It's a dying thing. And then Tuesdays with Stories, me and Joe List. It's been going for years. We got a hot rapport. Out to Lunch on YouTube. We're up to 9 million. Stand-ups on Netflix. We finally eked our way into Netflix. Got the toe in the door for a half hour. And then I have my own podcast and Patreon if you really want to get crazy.
Get crazy, goddammit.
Yeah.
Mark's one of the national treasure.
There you go. Patreon.com/Mark Norman. So praise Allah. Thanks for having me. And I'll probably bomb in a town near you.
He's one of the good ones, folks. Go out, support him, come see him. And Mark, thanks for coming out, pal.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Comedy.
All right. This has been a good episode.
Fucking
long story short.
He failed. God damn it. Yes, misery loves company, my boy.
Thanks for coming out. Boom.
Thanks for coming out, baby. Thanks for coming out.
Hey. Thanks for coming out. Are we under attack?
Thanks for coming out. Fuck, that bad?
Thanks for coming out. Oh, man. Thanks for coming out.
I can't even watch.
Yeah, all that was unprofessional.
Thanks for coming out, ladies and gentlemen. The bomb is the bomb, and it will always be that.